Cricket for you. Wait for that green light, and we are on. Hey guys, how you going? So BKRsport. We are live as New Zealand will be taking on Pakistan in the Super 8. So we are now at the juicy stages of the tournament, and I tell you what, it is juicy this game. Unfortunately, though, I do have some bad news for you, and that is that the covers are on. So there will be a delay because the covers are across the entirety of the field. It doesn't look like it's heavy rain by any means, but if I go here and have a look at Colombo weather, I'm going to see how long this is meant to be, because it might be a little bit, to be completely honest with you. It does show that it's meant to be raining at like 100% chance all the way through until about 4 a.m. So this game potentially may not even go ahead. But we've got to hope for the best here. I'm going to quickly jump onto Twitter and see what people are saying in regards to the delay. Rain delay. Okay, here we go. So I just want to see how long people are expecting. Yeah, rainstorm hits the stadium right after the toss, covers back on, fans' anxiety waiting. Yep, it is bad news for cricket fans here. But I don't know how long it's meant to be like this. But again, if you look at the Colombo weather on Google, it is saying that it's meant to rain all the way through until, honestly, Monday. Nearly Monday. Like, definitely until tomorrow. If I go and have a look at any other cricket games, is there another cricket game in Sri Lanka tomorrow? It's Sri Lanka versus England tomorrow. So I'm assuming that that'll be there as well. It's at Pallekele. So, yeah, Sri Lanka versus England could be impacted too at this rate. India versus South Africa will be in Ahmedabad, so I'm sure that won't be impacted. But unfortunately, this one here is being impacted today, and it doesn't look like it's heavy, but it is enough that they've called a delay for the time being. Now, Pakistan did elect to bat. They won the toss, and they elected to bat. So they wanted to get it underway early and then bowl New Zealand into oblivion on the chase. But again, I just hope that we're able to see something. Now, New Zealand are actually win probability favourites here, 52%, and Pakistan 48%. That's a bit of a surprise overall. But I do like it because New Zealand have been batting extremely well in this tournament so far. If you go and have a look at New Zealand against Canada, they chased down 173. They got 176 for twos. They won by 8 wickets and 29 balls left. When they played South Africa, they did bat well to get 175, but South Africa were just way too good in those opening 6 overs with the power play. South Africa won by 7 wickets with 17 balls left. Big win there for the Saffers, but New Zealand, they did bat well. And then you go to the UAE game, they chased down 173 with 28 balls left and won by 10 wickets. Massive bat well there. And when they took on Afghanistan, they chased 182 to get 183 for 5 in 17 and a half overs, and it was with 13 balls left, 5 wicket win. So they're definitely very accustomed to the chase down. They had to chase UAE. They obviously got there pretty quickly. They had to chase the Afghanistanis. They chased that pretty damn well quickly as well. And then with the Canada game, they had to chase that, and they got that very quickly with the 29 balls left. It's just that South Africa game where they bat first. I feel like New Zealand will thrive with knowing that they will have to bat second, considering most of their tournament so far has been this. But again, we just really hope that we are going to get a game of cricket here. Now, in regards to Pakistan's tournament so far, let me just get that up. Pakistan, they're coming off the back of a do-or-die must-win game against Namibia, where they did come through very easily there. They set a total of 199 for 3 through 20 overs. Pakistan won by 102 runs. Namibia got all out for 97. Before that, they obviously had that real hiccup game against India, where India set a massive total of 175 for 7 through 20. And India won by 61 runs. Pakistan only got to 114. A game against USA, that was close, but still, they led it pretty convincingly. 190 for 9. USA tried to chase. They got 158 for 8. So Pakistan won by 32 runs. But when they played the Netherlands, they were chasing there. And Pakistan won by 3 wickets with 3 balls left. It was very close. They only had to chase 147, but it was tough, and they only got to 148. But at least that is the win. So Pakistan in this tournament so far have definitely preferred to be the ones to set the pace, because when they've set the pace, They got 199 for 3 against Namibia, and against USA they got 190 for 9. So when they set the pace, they have been pretty good. When they've been chasing, it's been really difficult. They didn't get anywhere close to India, and they didn't get there until the last 3 balls against the Netherlands, which you would have expected them to obviously be a lot stronger there. And that's why you look back at that Pakistan-Australia series, you say, well, obviously the toss and opening up the batting was very, very important there for Pakistan, because they don't look like a great chasing team. Australia shitouts anyway, and they deserve all the criticism that they do get. But with that being said, they won the toss all 3 times and were able to set the pace. When you go back to the games against Sri Lanka in a T20 series prior to the Australian one, in the first game, they were chasing, and they chased down 128 for a 129 for 4, won by 6 wickets with 20 balls left. There was a match abandoned without a ball bowled in the second game of that series, and then when they took on Sri Lanka, they were actually chasing 161. They were trying to get past Sri Lanka, but they couldn't do it. They got 146 for 8. It was by DLS method of 12 overs. So, yeah, look, Pakistan definitely do prefer the chase. Pakistan definitely prefer to start the game off batting realistically. They need to set the pace, and that's why when they won the toss, they immediately said, we are going to have a bat and get it underway. Again, though, guys, a reminder, there is a delay to this game, and I am very much concerned that we may not get a game here today on the basis that it is meant to rain in Colombo quite literally until Monday. Like Sunday night, Monday morning, but definitely tomorrow night, which would impact the Palakeli Sri Lanka versus England game tomorrow night. Now, just before we do get into the chat, on the T20 rankings, the updated rankings, Australia have dropped down to 10th. That's too high for them, to be fair. No, that's Travis Head. Sorry. I thought that was Australia being put it down to 10th. I was like, that's crazy. But I was just going to take the piss and say it's too high. Australia are actually in 3rd. But New Zealand are ranked in number 4. If they were to progress to the Super Race, they would go above them too. But New Zealand are 4th, and Pakistan, they sit in 6th position. So very close there on the rankings. If we go to the batting department for today, the best batter in the game is Sahibzada Farhan, who's had a fantastic tournament. Did he get out early against Namibia? No, he got out very early against India and got out for a duck, actually, I think it was. Pakistan cricket. I'm pretty certain he got out for a duck against India, and when he failed, the whole team obviously come a guts around him. Outside of that, he's been very, very good. Yeah, he got out for a duck after 4 balls against India, but in this tournament against the Netherlands, we saw Sahibzada get 47 runs off 31 balls. We also saw him against the USA get a big total of 73 off of 41. That India game, obviously the duck off 4 balls, and then Namibia, he got 100 off of 58. Fantastic innings there from him. So he's been having an electric tournament. He's obviously the best batter in this game, but the Kiwis do have a more well-rounded batting lineup. Tim Seifert has been incredible. He's in the 9th ranked. You go down to the next best batter, which will be Kiwis' Tim Robinson, who is not here. He is not here. Yeah, this is looking very unlikely to go ahead here today, guys. It's looking unlikely. But yeah, Tim Robinson, he's in number 23. He's not playing. You've got Finn Allen, who is in number 30. He's been up and down, but he is a very, very good batter. Then you've got a couple of Pakistani boys here, and Saeem Ayub on 31, Babar Azam on 35, and Salman Ali Agha, who is in number 37, with Glenn Phillips in number 38. Overall, Pakistan do have more batters in this top 50. Dale Mitchell's in 42, and Mark Chapman's in 48. But overall, Pakistan do have some good batters here. However, I would back the New Zealand batting over the Pakistani batting every day of the week. But when it comes to bowling, it's the opposite way around, that I'd back the Pakistani bowling every day of the week. But yeah, so Mark Chapman's in 48. We go down further, and Devon Conway, who's not playing, he's in 63. Further down, you've got Rushin Ravindra in 74. I don't know how he went up 15 spots, because he's not had a good tournament so far by any stretch of the imagination. And then Fakhar Zaman in 88 for Pakistan. And that's all that she wrote. So overall, on the rankings themselves, on the ICC rankings themselves, Pakistan should be able to match the batting. but I just disagree with it, and I say that New Zealand's batting has been so on fire in this tournament that, and even in the ODI series, a no different format, but still, their batting is very, very good. What concerns me is the bowling. Now, they've got Jacob Duffy, that is ranked in number 7th, but Pakistan have the 3rd best bowler in the world now. Abraham Ahmed has dropped down. I think that India game really hurt him, but Abraham Ahmed has dropped down from 2nd to 3rd behind Rashid Khan and India's Varun Chakravarti. But Jacob Duffy in 7th. You've got Abraham Ahmed from Pakistan in 3rd. And then you've got Mohammad Nawaz in equal 9th with Bangladesh's Mustafizur Rahman. So they've got 2 guys there in the top 10, Pakistan do. And we move down to Salman Mirza, who is in number 19. New Zealand's Mitchell Santner is in number 20. They actually do have them quite close together overall here if you look at it. Shaheen Afridi, the pace bowler, he's in number 35. He did miss out the other day. Would he be playing here today? They are not playing Shaheen Afridi today. Shaheen Afridi will not be playing today, so they definitely are looking to go away from the pace bowlers and to really use the spin here in Sri Lanka, where they've played all their games. New Zealand actually haven't played in Sri Lanka yet. This will be their first game here today. So Afridi in 35, he is not playing though. Matt Henry from New Zealand, he is playing, but he is ranked down in number 36. We go even further down, and Pakistan's Sufyan Mughim is there. I don't think that he is playing. He hasn't featured in this tournament at all so far, but he is in number 50. New Zealand don't feature too much on here. Saeed Ayub is equal 55th with Zimbabwe's Blessing Muzarabani, but Blessing should definitely move up the ranks after this tournament so far. He's been fantastic for Zimbabwe. Lockie Ferguson, he is equal 64th with South Africa's Kingisa Rambada and not West Indies, Romario Shepherd, he's just below. But Lockie Ferguson, I don't believe is back yet because he had a child, so he had to go back to New Zealand. Oh wait, no, he is back now. Okay, he is featuring on the Super 8s, but he had to go back quickly to have the birth of a child, I believe. But he's back now playing tonight. Well, if we get a game, Ish Sodhi is actually playing tonight as well. He's ranking number 70. They want to bring a little bit of spin into this game, of course. And then you go to a couple of Pakistani bowlers of Shadab Khan and Harris Ralph. Ralph not playing. Oh, Kyle Jamieson is the one that's not playing tonight. They wanted to go more spin. That's why Ish Sodhi is there. He's equal 78 with USA's Noshtush Kenjige. And that about rounds it out. Zachary Folkes not playing. He's in equal 87th with Nepal's Sandeep Lamashan. And Pakistan, Abbas Afridi in 92. That's what rounds it out overall. So when you look at the bowling, I'm definitely backing in the bowling of Pakistan. When you look at the batting, I'm definitely backing in the batting of New Zealand. But again, the ICC ranking does go against that. And when it comes to all-rounders, you've actually got Saeed Ayub from Pakistan, who is number 1 in the world. So Sikandar Raza was 1, now he's 2. And Saeed Ayub has got up into that number 1 spot. Mohammad Nawaz from Pakistan is also in number 7. And then Mitchell Santner comes in at equal 14th with India's Aksar Patel and Australia's Marcus Stoinis. But overall, Pakistan do have some really good rankings here. Shadab Khan down at 25. You would really like to say that Pakistan will be up for this game, but you just never know with Pakistan. You just never really know what to expect. And, we don't even know if we can expect a game here today. But at the end of the day, I'm going to say the Kiwis win. I'm going to back him in. I'm going to say our Kiwi brethren get the job done if there is a game tonight. But guys, obviously hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new around here. Let's get in the chat. Let's see what you are saying. And hopefully we do get a game. Shatish says the match won't be happening as I can see completed match odds are already $3.40. Yeah, look, it doesn't look like it, man. Again, if you look at the weather report, it looks like this game probably won't get underway, but obviously we're still here. We're still hoping for the best. But the Colombo weather today is meant to be heavy until about 4 a.m., where it's still meant to be raining, but less. And then it's meant to pick back up in the middle part of the day tomorrow. Maybe we may get that game of Sri Lanka versus England, but it is an earlier game, actually. Hold on one second. I think Sri Lanka versus England might be an early game. So 4:30 my time, so it'll be 3 p.m., I think, in Sri Lanka. And 3 p.m. tomorrow in Sri Lanka is probably the best chance you're going to get of there not being any rain in that day. But you just got to hope that hopefully this weather comes through and rolls through earlier than expected. That's pretty much it. Who have the best players? Marvin says Pakistan to win. I'm feeling New Zealand, but again, I don't think the game goes ahead tonight. I'm feeling probably the Kiwis with their batting. They love a good chase, but Pakistan's bowling is so restrictive in those middle overs of the seven. After power play, 6 to about the 14th over, the consolidation period is so tough for teams to bat in because the Pakistan bowlers just really constrict you like a boa constrictor, right? So I feel like this is a very, very even game and could go either way. Pakistan would need to bat into oblivion and to set a total of dead set, like a 180, despite the fact that this is a bowling pitch. I still feel like you just always think that the Kiwis could come back, right? But if you get Tim Seifert early, then I don't know. Again, this is 50-50 as it comes, but I would probably lean with the Kiwis. And Nace says, come on to Kiwis. Duras says, there's odds on a game being complete. Yeah, I've never seen that before, but I back in Shatij, the gambling addict. Nate says, call me crazy, but I think that Sri Lanka are a good chance of winning the T20 World Cup. Yes, you are crazy because they just lost to Zimbabwe. But they had a good game against Australia, but Australia have been absolutely dog shit throughout this tournament. I feel like if I'm going for anyone in this tournament right now, I would love to see Zimbabwe get through this group stage. It would be so cool to see them fire up. It was great to see them go through undefeated in that group stage. They are in the same group as the West Indies, India, and South Africa. So it's going to be incredibly difficult for them to get through that. But if they beat the West Indies, then they just need to try and find a way to win one of those games against India or South Africa. Obviously, you'd be looking more so at South Africa, but T20, things can happen. Things can change very, very damn well quickly. So, look, I'd love to see the Zimbabweans do it, man. As an Aussie, I'm not salty about our exit. I'm salty at our own organisation and our bullshit coaching and our bullshit selections and bringing Steve Smith over there just to be a fielder, effectively. I'm pretty upset about that, but, I'd love to see Zimbabwe or Sri Lanka go ahead and get the job done. Tem says up the caps. Night Eyes says, hey, hello, Night Eyes. Dara says, Nate, they're a smoky to get through the next stage in the semis for sure. Are they? So in the Super 8, they're in the same group as Pakistan, New Zealand, and England. I just don't know, man. Sri Lanka, let's not take that game against Australia too well because Australia suck right now. I don't see Sri Lanka beating Pakistan. I could see them doing okay against England, but England beat them 3-0 in a series in Sri Lanka before this tournament went underway. So I probably would still fancy England there, and that's already 2 losses. They're already done, and then we're not even talking about the fact that the Kiwis will bat into oblivion. They're just a really good batting side. I just can't see a world Sri Lanka make it through, especially after their loss to Zimbabwe. They're coming up against much better teams here, and yeah, I just don't know about that, but I'd love to see it. She says this is going to be a long evening for Blaze since the game isn't going to start anytime soon. This is not going to be a contest more than 10 overs aside, my opinion. Well, after we chat a little bit here, I'll probably put the weather delay up and then we'll keep the stream available. But I'm not going to sit here and just talk for 3.5 hours if we've got nothing in front of us. But I can definitely talk for a little bit here and kick back for a while. I'm on a high after the Titans came second in the preseason. We're flying, mate. We're absolutely flying. Oh my gosh, the Titans might be the greatest team of all time. But no, I'll sit back and kick here with you guys for 10-15, and then probably after that we'll chuck up the weather delay, and then we'll come back if the game comes back on, or if we get news that the game won't go ahead. Dre says, Nath, especially in their own conditions, they are the wild card and are a serious threat, but unfortunately I don't see them in the final. I have an India vs South Africa final. I honestly think you shouldn't count out the Kiwis, man. I really don't. I think that if the Kiwis played South Africa again, we could easily see them be the opposite result. That is going to be a good game if they play each other in the semi-final, or if they play each other in the final. I don't think that happens, but if they do play each other in the semi-final, then I feel like that's going to be a really, really close game. I don't think you should underestimate the Kiwis just because South Africa did get that win over the Kiwis in the group stage. Nay says, India and Pakistan are way too cocky, and now that Australia is out, they both think they're a shoo-in to play the final. Yeah, I don't know why Pakistan would be thinking that. They shouldn't be thinking that at all. But they should be pretty happy with their team's at. I would say they should be pretty happy with how their team's at, but at the end of the day, they still got slap-a-mundost. They got slap-a-mundost by the Indians in that game. So I don't know about that. Don't forget the random mic checks. Random mic checks? Well, I'm already making your ears bleed, apparently, Jay. So, you know, I'm already making your ears bleed. No, it says India and Pakistan are. Oh, that's right. It says Pakistan have no right to be cocky, though. They're not favourites or anything. India definitely will think it's easier with no Oz. Oz is India's bogey side. Like, although India should have and would have, I would assume, smashed Australia, I just think that there's a bogey thing about it because they understand that Australia is the only team above them when it comes to trophies and worldwide glory across all formats and across history. Australia's the only team above India, and I just feel like they would still worry. Even if Australia was as shit as they were, they would still just have those concerns, right? So they would be very happy that the Aussies are out because it could have still been spicy between the two of them when they played. To be fair, Blaze, that was the last game of the group stage. Like, Sri Lanka wouldn't have the same focus and intensity. Sure, but look at the game against Ireland. They weren't spectacular in the game against Ireland. That was the first game of the tournament. They also lost 3-0 in a series to England just before the World Cup started. So, yeah, look, I won't debate that. But also, Zimbabwe looked really good. And I don't think we should be discrediting Zimbabwe's tournament so far. They're undefeated, and every game means something. Their focus should have still been on going through the group stage undefeated and winning the group stage for mentality reasons. So what you're saying is and I'm not having a crack at you here, but what you're saying is their mentality is not good enough. What, they wanted to lose? They didn't care if they lost at home to Zimbabwe? Don't know about that. I don't know about that. At the end of the day, they still lost that game. It's not like they wouldn't have tried hard to win it. So I think that either you're right and that's a negative against Sri Lanka and now my mindset is completely off them, or they just got beaten by the better team on the day and they do rebound. I'd like to think that's the option, because if they went in and didn't really care because they'd already make it through the group stages, well, that's a negative against Sri Lanka and makes it even worse. I'd love to see a New Zealand versus South Africa grand final. That would be amazing because neither one of them have ever won anything really, besides South Africa winning the what's it called? The World Test Championship last year. Neither team's never won anything, so it'd be awesome to see the first World Cup for one of those two teams, especially when they've lost in the final in recent years. Adian says Aussie management had disrespected Smith. Aussie management disrespected Australia as a sporting organisation, as a country in cricket. The Aussie management disrespected everyone. Their fans, their players. There's too much political bullshit inside that team right now. There's no way Steve Smith shouldn't have been playing the Zimbabwe game, let alone the game against Sri Lanka, but also to not even take him across. Maybe not the Zimbabwe game, it was taken too quickly, but the Sri Lanka game, absolutely. I believe we win that game with Steve Smith. I don't think we would have done anything in the tournament. Our bowling wasn't good enough, but I believe that Steve Smith would have steadied the ship and we would have got to 220, considering that we were at 110 or something after 10 overs or something ridiculous. And then we finish up on what, 198 or 180 something, whatever. So the point is that, yeah, it was just ridiculous and so disappointing. Australia deserved to lose. Anyone who's having a crack at Australia, you better, be able to check your own mirrors and check your own windows. With that being said, it's not wrong on the merit of it was a very disappointing tournament for Australia in so many levels. Nate says that Aussie management staff should be sacked immediately. There is so many problems with the selection processes in the T20I. George Bailey, people have complained about him for a long time, and Andrew McDonald don't even start. New Zealand South Africa grand final is the best possible GF. Like, you'd be happy with whoever won. So this is just called a final, by the way. It's not called a grand final, but that's Australian terminology with grand final. However, the best final overall would actually be India-Pakistan, based off of how heavy that would be worldwide in regards to how much viewers would be there. But the most entertaining final would probably be geez. I guess we'll see India versus South Africa in the group stage, but the most entertaining would either be India-New Zealand, India-South Africa, or New Zealand-South Africa. It's those three teams that are really the entertaining ones for mine, in regards to how they'll play and if it will go down to the wire, because I just don't see Pakistan being able to get over that mentality hump, which is why I would have thought that even how bad Australia looked, I still feel like we would have had the mentality hump over the Indians, right? And I just think that India always have that mentality hump over the Pakistanis. Harrison says, let's go New Zealand. Harrison, quick question. You sure you don't want to jump on the Titans wagon this year? You sure you want the Raiders? You sure you want to start with the Raiders? Because don't know how good. So we got two Englishmen here. We got Jacko, we got Harrison. Harrison decides, I'm going to be a Canberra Raiders fan. I'm going to jump on the Raiders bandwagon. And then you've got the big fella Jacko who comes in and says, well, I'm going to jump on the Titans. And I'm going to watch this team absolutely fly. And I said, you know what? They are going to fly. They're going to be the greatest team of all time. They may never lose a game ever again. Well, guess what? Since Harrison's joined the Raiders, and they've just gone and lost by about 40 odd points today. And the Titans, they haven't lost a game in 2026. So take that, Harrison. You're a cat. Give me like literally 1 minute. I'll be back in a moment. All right, we're back. we are back. Harrison says, I've made my bed with the Raiders now. Yes, you damn well have. But I'm just saying, you can have the soft spot, mate. You can. You can have the soft spot for the Titans. I won't blame you for it. She says, till 9 p.m. Sri Lanka time, radar looks absolutely dark. It does. Yeah, it really does. It does. So in a moment, I'll probably chuck on the weather. I'll probably chuck on the weather impact, and we'll probably let it just sit there. Weather delay, rain delay is what I was looking for. I'll probably chuck up the weather delay, rain delay photo, and we'll just wait for the game to start if it does. When I first looked at the Aussie squad, I was like, what is this shit? You're not wrong, man. You're not wrong. She says, whoever got Connolly in the 11, even after so many failures, should be sacked first. Whoever put Connolly in, I don't hate Connolly being selected at the beginning, especially for the Pakistan series, but I did hate it in the World Cup after what we saw in the Pakistan series, and then for them to persist with him and at the expense of Renshaw and also Steve Smith, it wasn't acceptable. It just wasn't. It just wasn't acceptable. It says, even Ricky Ponting said that this is not the old Aussie team which has that aura around them. It's not. Well, they just lost to Zimbabwe and Sri Lanka, you know? And Sri Lanka in embarrassing fashion because they were in a well and truly dominant position to win that game. No one can say they shouldn't have won that game. They were at like 100 whatever runs after 10 overs. Mitch Marsh and Steve Smith were unbelievable. And then you get Cameron Green come in and start off the collapse. Because you can't say Travis Head getting out at the start of a collapse when he got 56 runs. Shatish says, someone is to win this World Cup other than India. It should definitely be the Proteas. Poor guys came so close in the last World Cup. Would love to see it. Would love to see it. I call them the Proteas because if you watch the movie Invictus, which is actually about the rugby union team in South Africa, they call them, because the rugby union team back in '95, before they won the Rugby Union World Cup for the first time under Nelson Mandela, when he was really pushing, even though that movie is heavily propaganda, but you know what I mean. The point of the matter is that they were actually going to change the name from Springboks, from the Boks to the Proteas, and they decided against it because Mandela apparently had a problem with it. This is what is in the movie Invictus, right? I don't know the actual true story there, but there's a lot of apparent propaganda there. But Mandela had a problem with it, and he came in and convinced them to keep the name of the Springboks for South Africa, rather than the Proteas. And now, Proteas is the cricket team. So a little bit of fun fact for you in history. Actually, I'm going to Google that. Is it true that Nelson Mandela prevented the rugby union name of Springboks being changed to Proteas? Okay, so yes, it is true that Nelson Mandela intervened to prevent the Springbok name and emblem from being replaced by the Proteas in the mid-1990s, playing a key role in retaining the iconic rugby branding. Following the end of the apartheid, that was a strong push within the new ANC-led government to remove old symbols of white minority rule, while other South African sports teams adopted the King Protea, the national flower, as their emblem. The rugby team's name and Springbok antelope logo was heavily associated with apartheid-era oppression and was slated for replacement. But then Mandela came in and said, no, we need to unify the country and recognise it as a way to unify the country rather than separation. Someone says, what you made of Fakar in this team? Look, I can't really give you a fantastic response here, man. Obviously, Fakar Zaman is in. He hasn't played too much throughout this tournament, has he? I don't think he has. Has he, mate? Has he played every game? Or am I thinking of somebody else? I think I might be thinking of somebody else, to be honest with you. In the game against the Netherlands, he didn't play against the Netherlands. And then we go to the game against the USA. And I don't think he played here either. No, Fakar did not play against the Netherlands, against the USA. Against India, I don't think he played there either. And no, Fakar Zaman did not play either against India. And then against Namibia, he did not play either. This is actually meant to be his first game of the tournament. But again, we're probably not going to see a game here today. We are probably not going to see a game here today. Because if you look at the precipitation, it's meant to rain heavy until about 5 a.m. It's meant to rain until 5 a.m. Most of the TVs were turned off here when South Africa needed 28 off 30 balls with Klassen breathing fire at the crease. Could you imagine if you turned the game off and didn't see the comeback, didn't see the collapse? Could you imagine the scenes? Could you imagine? Because I know people. I was at the Brisbane Roar versus Central Coast Mariners 2-0 comeback in extra time at Suncorp. I saw so many people. You know what? The biggest key game of all time where people left early and missed out on the biggest moment in history was Manchester City versus QPR back in 2011-12. So many people had left the stadium at the 90th minute when City were down 2-1 and everyone thought we couldn't win the league and it was all done and dusted. You could literally see people walking out. There are videos of people who have walked out of that stadium. For people who don't know the history of this game, it was like the biggest game of all time when it came to the Premier League. And it was the last game of the season. City needed to win. Otherwise, their biggest rivals, Man United, would win the title for the 100th millionth time in a row, 20th time in a row. And long story short, City needed to win. They were going up against a team avoiding relegation, whilst United, they were going up against Sunderland, who didn't need any result. They didn't care. So United win 1-0. So City have to win. They're down 2-1 in the 90th minute. If you know football, it's only 90 minutes plus extra time. So there was 5 minutes added time on. So they're down 2-1 at home. Everyone's leaving. Like, literally, the whole stadium's leaving. They just think that we've just lost the title we're going to win the first time in 44 years. Hadn't won the Premier League title ever. Hadn't won a league title in 44 years. Had won one trophy in the last, ever, which was the FA Cup the year beforehand. And everyone was leaving. You can literally see videos of people trying to clamber back in as Deco scores because they know it's maybe about to happen. And then Sergio Aguero scores. There are videos of people outside the stadium trying to climb inside the stadium because once you leave a stadium, you can't go back in. Your ticket is valid for you to get in. If you don't have a pass or whatnot, you can't get back in. So they're trying to climb this. Don't ever leave a game early, lads. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. So, yeah, that's one of the prime time games, and obviously City ended up winning 2-1 in the 93rd minute and 20 seconds, 93-20. People who leave early deserved that. Yeah, they did. QPR was safe, because it was a perfect day all round for everyone in the stadium, because QPR was safe, and obviously Manchester City won, and QPR were dancing with the Man City fans. And also, I guarantee you a lot of people would have left the game against Aston Villa when they're down 2-0 with, 20 minutes to go? I think it was 20 minutes to go, and City were down 2-0. And then by the 80th minute, so at the 70th minute, they're down 2-0. I think it was by the 80th minute, they were up 3-2. And that was in a game that they must win on the final day of the season to beat out Liverpool to the title. If anyone ever leaves a game from City ever again, early, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. Nate says, remember a Dragons versus Manly game when we were down 28-4 in the 50th minute and everyone started leaving and we came back and won? I feel like I remember this game. I don't know when it was, Nate, but I feel like I might remember that game. Durant says, is weather good for England versus Sri Lanka tomorrow? Shatish says, yes. I don't know if you're right, mate. I don't know if you're right. If you look at the precipitation report, it's meant to rain all the way through until like 11 o'clock tomorrow night. The weather's not good for tomorrow by any means. What do you mean, yes? The weather report says it's meant to rain till like midnight tomorrow, but then it's meant to be sunny after that. So it might be that that game impacted tomorrow as well. I felt like leaving early after Suoliti send-off, but I stuck through the frustration. Are you talking about Origin? What are you talking about? Are you talking about Origin? Security wouldn't have let them back in. No, security doesn't let you come back in after you. I don't know about other countries. I know in Australia, and I would assume England. Well, I know England because they weren't allowed back in. Late 90s, I think it was. Or maybe I'm not thinking about that game. I feel like I've seen other comebacks of a similar nature, though. For sure. Yeah, Origin 1, 2024. Yeah, well, look, Serpent. Look, Daddy Queensland had to teach you a lesson. You know? We did it. And if you refer to the series result, doesn't matter because we're the current champions, and that's all that matters. Sport reactions: is it still raining? It's probably going. This game probably won't go ahead, man, which is very disappointing. Wasn't a send off in Origin though. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. I'm not going to get into this argument. What is it, Serpent? I got to ask you. Why do you have the opposite take to every take that I have on this channel? Why is it? And I know you don't do it deliberately. I know you're not doing it deliberately. But I don't understand how you have, quite literally, on every conversation, the opposite take to what I'm going to say. Because it is a send-off in Origin. It is. It's a send-off anywhere. Because it is direct forceful contact to the head, regardless of slipping over. We know, especially nowadays, they probably would take it away. But at the time, it was a send-off. Nowadays, they probably say mitigation. Nowadays, they probably go mitigation. Back then, there was no mitigation in regards to that. Completed match odds are at 6-1. Any chances for a game looks bleak? Yeah, it's not looking great. We don't need this debate, though. No, we don't, because Nate's going to cry. You want Nate to cry about me talking about Queensland winning yet again? Is that what we're going to do? But you lost the series. Oh, really, Therese? Well, you know, when we talk about series results, I feel like Queensland might have the upper hand there. I think they might. We've done it a few times against Manly, I think. Yeah, maybe. Well, guys, look, I don't think this game is going to go ahead. Like, regardless, tomorrow night, I'm going to keep this stream up just in case the game does go ahead. But tomorrow we do have Sri Lanka, England, and India, South Africa. Hold on. Trojan Horse says, does Australia have a football team? Yes, but we're not fantastic. But we punch above our weight, but we're not fantastic. I think you're talking about soccer. If you're talking about soccer/football, I call it football, but I know a lot of Australians, everyone else calls it soccer, basically, because we have our own footy. But yeah, we do. The Socceroos. We're in the same group stage group as the Americans, actually, in this next World Cup. But in the last World Cup, the only two teams we lost to, and this is with a country that doesn't really care about football at all, but they'll get behind the World Cup. Australia only lost to Argentina and France, and they only lost 2-1 to Argentina and nearly equalised in the last minute of the game. They obviously didn't, but fantastic result there for Australia. They gave it a real good crack against the eventual winners, and they led 1-0 against France, the eventual losers in the final, but obviously ended up losing 4-1 in the end. With that being said, though, was happy to even have a bit of happiness there. However, Denmark only really cares about football, beat them 1-0, and also Tunisia, who only really cares about football, we beat them, I think, 1-0 as well. So yeah, we punch above our weight, man. You know, we've had some pretty big results over time. 2006 was our best year, where we beat Japan and we beat a couple of teams. We got through to the round of 16, and then Italy had to dive against us to win. They ended up winning the World Cup in 2006. But we nearly knocked out Italy from the round of 16 back in 2006, and we'll never forgive Italy for their dive. It's a penalty because he's an idiot for sliding in the box like that. But, you know, with that being said, we will never forgive Italy for that dive. We'll never forgive it. So yeah, we do have a football team, mate. It's not massive in Australia. Chris Hendry says, will it go down as a draw if there is no match? I would assume so. Can someone clarify this? Shatish, I'm sure you'd know. Points will be split, yeah. Sport Reaction says this Pakistan and no pool is a lot easier. This Pakistan and no pool is a lot easier. What? Think the Aussies make it out of the group stage. Hope they beat America. Hopefully. I don't know what this Pakistan no pool is a lot easier. I don't know what it means. Would have been 1-1 to Argentina if not for that soft goal. Both goals were soft, bruh. Especially that the one from the keeper. Nath says, I'll check back in and see if you stream, but if not, I'll see if tomorrow streams, big fella. Yeah, we've got the Rabbitohs versus Manly in the final preseason game before the big season starts up next week. But we've also got Sri Lanka versus England. Hopefully that goes ahead, and India versus South Africa. They're the two big games tomorrow. It says, India team had also struggled against spin, and earlier we used to play spin well, but now this generation of players have forgotten the earth to play spin. Even in the group games, they struggle against spin. You told us many times there that they struggled against spin. I feel like they might struggle against spin there. If not spin, then maybe spin. But look, we'll see how India go. They play South Africa. It's not heavy on spin. They love their pace. And then they've also got Zimbabwe. They're more of a pace bowling unit as well. And then they will play the West Indies, who are also probably more so of a pace bowling unit. It's not really... The other group is the one with the spin with Sri Lanka and with Pakistan. But England and New Zealand, they prefer their pace as well. England do love a bit of Will Jacks, though, so I'll give them that. But overall, it's more so pace. And with New Zealand, they don't have much spin on offer at all. Pakistan-New Zealand pool is easier than the other pool. I feel like they're pretty evenly matched overall. India, South Africa, West Indies, and Zimbabwe. Don't disrespect Zimbabwe, but I know you're not because you're saying it's a tougher pool. But England, New Zealand, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka, I feel like the better overall teams that you would expect are India and South Africa there. But like Pakistan is still very good when they want to be. New Zealand is still very, very good. Their batting is awesome. It's just their bowling is a concern. England, you never know what you're going to get from them. And Sri Lanka, you never know what you're going to get from them. So I actually say that it's way more difficult to know who's coming out of that Group 2 than it is out of that Group 1 with India, South Africa, West Indies, and Zimbabwe. Now, sure, we could see a surprise and Zimbabwe or West Indies could sneak in over the top of South Africa. I don't see India get knocked out, but if they do, I could see a surprise result up there. But overall, can you put your hand on heart and say, I know 100% for a fact who gets through Group 2? And I'd say no. I would say no. I don't know if Pakistan get through. I don't know if New Zealand... I think New Zealand should get through, but I don't know for certain because their bowling is not exactly strong. England, I don't know jack shit about England. And Sri Lanka, I don't know anything about them at all. And I'd probably say no, but, you know, anything can happen, right? So that pool is a lot more difficult to predict than the other one. I'll only probably stream Socceroos games, Serpent. I'll probably only do Socceroos games. Socceroos World Cup game might clash with Titans Tigers in June. Well, I'll have to miss that, mate, because at the end of the day, I'll definitely have to do a Titans game. If you had to set another NRL game, oh no, I'd still do the NRL game, but I would definitely keep up to date with it. I would definitely keep up to date with it. Well, guys, look, I'm probably going to jump off here and put the weather delay on the screen, as you can see me fiddling around with the screen right now, which means that I will put this here and everything will be quiet until if the game goes ahead. I don't think this game will go ahead, but we're going to keep it up just in case it does. So obviously do me a favour and hit that like button, subscribe if you're new around here. If the game isn't going ahead, we will be back. If the game doesn't go ahead, we will see you tomorrow, but I will come onto the stream to say the game's not going ahead, and we'll see you tomorrow regardless. But yeah, hit that thumbs up button and subscribe, and I will be back whenever the game gets ahead, if it does go ahead. I actually was thinking about that just before, by the way, Ben, in regards to putting some rain sounds on the audio. I'm actually going to think about doing it right now because I've got time. I've got time. I'm not coming back, guys. We still are in a weather delay. We probably won't get a game tonight, but I am going to see what I can do about putting some rain sounds on here so you can have a smooth rain experience. Titans are the greatest team of all time and will never lose a game ever again, Ben. All right, well, guys, we are back, but I have some very bad news for everybody. Very, very bad news. And I'm just taking this off of the screen now. And there we go. We are back, but unfortunately, the bad news is that this game has been abandoned without a ball bowled. So there will be no match between New Zealand and Pakistan, which means they will share the points, and it will mean that their games in this Super 8 really mean a lot now against England and Sri Lanka. They will both get 1 point. Obviously, their net run rate is not impacted, but it does mean that they will absolutely have to play their heart out against Sri Lanka and England, because it really is tough when you do get that draw, especially when there is only 4 games, or you only get 3 games in total, and England, they're going to be fancying themselves. Sri Lanka, they're going to be at home. They're going to be fancying themselves. Only 2 progress through the group. So this is a nightmare. But unfortunately, there is also a nightmare potentially tomorrow, which would actually equal out this group. That Sri Lanka and England do play in Pallekele, which is... The weather doesn't look great either for tomorrow. Like, if you look at the weather report for tomorrow, it's meant to rain from now all the way through until like 3, 4 in the morning. And then it's meant to pick up again. The rain is meant to pick up again at about 7 a.m. and then go through the rest of the day. It's meant to be at its heaviest until just after 1 p.m. Now, the game tomorrow for Sri Lanka versus England will start at 3 p.m. local. And at 3 p.m. local, it's a chance. It's not as a good a chance as it is right now and as it is in midday tomorrow, but you just got to hope that weather doesn't get heavier. You just got to hope that the weather report does suggest that... it does suggest that the weather will go away. But unfortunately, we might see the game impacted tomorrow, which would even out this group again. For the time being, New Zealand and Pakistan, you got to play your hearts out against England and Sri Lanka. Otherwise, it might be scary times for you. But guys, I appreciate you for tuning in. Obviously, we will see you tomorrow as we'll be live for 3 games. Rugby League, we have pre-season, South Sydney Rabbitohs versus the Manly Seagulls. Then we have the Sri Lanka versus England game, hopefully, and then we will have the big game as well between India and South Africa in Ahmedabad. And there won't be any rain in Ahmedabad, I can promise you that. Alright guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you're new around here. I'll see you then. Thanks for watching. Catch you later. See ya.